Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you've been anywhere near the news lately, you've probably heard about the escalating trade war between the US and China. Just days ago, on April 4, 2025, China hit back at President Donald Trump's latest tariffs with a massive 34% tariff on all US goods. And let me tell you, the global markets are freaking out. Stock prices are plummeting, recession fears are spiking, and everyone's asking, what does this mean for the world economy, and for you? In this video, we're diving deep into Trump's trade war, China's retaliation, and how this 44% tariff is sending shockwaves through global markets. We'll break it down step by step, look at the winners and losers, and explore what might happen next. So, grab a coffee, hit that like button, and let's get started. First, let's set the stage. On April 2, 2025, President Trump stood in the White House Rose Garden and signed an executive order launching what he calls a reciprocal tariff policy. His plan? A 10% baseline tariff on imports from nearly every country, plus steeper tariffs on specific nations, like a whopping 34% extra on China, bringing the total to 54% when you add in existing duties. Trump says this is about fairness, leveling the playing field for American workers by punishing countries he claims charge the U.S. unfair trade barriers. This isn't Trump's first rodeo with tariffs. Back in his first term, he slapped duties on Chinese steel and other goods, sparking a mini trade war. But this time, it's bigger. Way bigger. We're talking tariffs affecting over 180 countries, with China, the world's second largest economy, taking the hardest hit. And China? They didn't waste any time clapping back. On April 4th, just 2 days later, China announced its own 34% tariff on all U.S. imports, effective April 10th. They also threw in export controls on rare earth minerals, key materials for tech like smartphones and electric cars, and blacklisted some U.S. companies. Beijing called Trump's move bullying and said they're ready to fight back. So, what's the fallout? Let's talk markets. Picture this. It's April 4th, 2025, and global stock markets are in freefall. The Dow Jones Industrial Average tanks over 1,500 points in a single day, its worst two-day drop ever. The S&P 500 lost nearly 5%, and the tech-heavy Nasdaq down 6%, its biggest slide since the 2020 pandemic crash. In just 2 days, U.S. markets alone shed over $6 trillion in value. Why the chaos? Well, tariffs are like a tax on trade. They make imported goods more expensive. Trump's tariffs hit everything from Chinese electronics to European cars. And China's retaliation slams U.S. exports like soybeans and oil. Investors hate uncertainty, and this tit-for-tat trade war is uncertainty on steroids. Big names like Apple and Nike saw shares drop 7 to 14% overnight. Why? They rely heavily on Chinese manufacturing. Retailers like Dollar Tree, with 32% of their goods from China, crashed 11%. Meanwhile, oil prices hit pandemic lows at $61 a barrel as fears of a global slowdown tanked demand. Europe's not safe either. Their stocks fell 2 to 5%, and Japan's Nikkei is bracing for the worst week in years. JP Morgan says there's now a 60% chance of global recession by end of year, up from 40% before this tariff escalation. That's a huge red flag, but it's not just numbers. Let's zoom in on what this means for everyday people. So who's getting hit the hardest? First, American consumers. Economist says Trump's tariffs could raise U.S. household costs by $2,100 to $3,800 a year. That $10 pair of shoes from Vietnam? Now it's $14.60 with a 46% tariff. Your next iPhone? Analysts warn it could jump to $2,300 if companies pass on these costs. U.S. farmers are hurting too. China's 34% tariff targets agricultural exports. Think soybeans, pork, and beef. During Trump's first trade war, farmers lost $27 billion in sales, and this could be worse. Retailers like Walmart might eat some costs, but most will raise prices. On the flip side, who wins? Trump says U.S. manufacturers will thrive as companies move production back home. The White House claims this could create jobs and boost GDP long-term. And the U.S. government? They're raking in cash. Tariffs could bring in $1 trillion in revenue, which Trump wants to use for tax cuts. But here's the catch. Experts like Fed Chair Jerome Powell warn this could spike inflation and slow growth. Higher prices, fewer jobs, it's a double whammy. And globally, countries like Vietnam and Taiwan, hit with 46% and 32% tariffs, are scrambling. Even poor nations like Lesotho face 50% duties. This isn't just US versus China, it's a global shakeup. So where do we go from here? Trump's doubling down. He's called China's response weak and says the US will win this economic revolution. Over 50 countries are begging to negotiate with the White House, hoping to dodge these tariffs. Vietnam's already talking deals, and Trump's hinted at flexibility, like maybe cutting tariffs if China lets TikTok sell to a US buyer. But China's not backing off either. They're betting their economy can take the hit, and those rare earth controls? That's a tech trump card. Meanwhile, the EU's plotting a united response, and Canada's threatening $125 billion in tariffs on US goods. The big question, will this de-escalate, or are we headed for a full-blown trade war? And that's the story so far. Trump's trade war and China's 34% tariff are rocking the world, from Wall Street to your wallet. Will this spark a recession, or is this the reset Trump promises? We'll keep you posted as this unfolds. What do you think? Smart move by Trump, or a disaster in the making? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this breakdown helpful, smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell. We're covering this trade war every step of the way. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.